So we've had some arrests coming out of Minnesota. We've had the arrests of 3 people, not of Don Lemon, and I won't even fault Pam Bondi for what sounds like it was a failed attempt to get charges against Don Lemon, because you've got activist judges everywhere. Maybe go find another method. I don't know how you go about it with a grand jury, but they tried by the sounds of it. It has not yet succeeded for the time being by the sounds of it. But they've arrested 3 individuals who partook in an egregious, in-your-face act of criminality against the holiest of holy institutions, a church. And Pam Bondi posted her post about it, said, this is okay. We've arrested that guy. If there's a whole bunch of people FAFO, we got him. We got him. We're going to go down the rabbit hole on this. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to because of the nature of it. Hold up one second. You got Pam Bondi, who's posting the W. Harmeet Dhillon reposted and said, let me see, am I going to be able to get to this? Here we go. Harmeet Dhillon posted, and first of all, not only have I don't think I've ever said anything bad about Harmeet Dhillon, in insulting, denigrating. I never jumped on the bandwagon of people making fun of her for the prayer that she did at the RNC. I'm fairly certain I had no problem with that, and thought it was wrong to go after her for identity politic issues such as that. I appreciate other people, don't have the same courtesy. Never did that. And we have always been actually very appreciative and acknowledging of the work that Harmeet Dhillon has been doing at the Civil Rights Division, although I have been politely nudging and reminding of Tina Peters, who could be taken into federal marshal custody, as explained by a great many lawyers, American lawyers, and that has yet to happen. Maybe they're waiting for the Colorado Court of Appeal to adjudicate on the appeal and dismiss the charges or set her free, or they're waiting for the Colorado governor to set her free. Maybe there's strategizing in the backdrop, and they just hope that Tina Peters doesn't die in jail or get beaten to death in jail because she was recently assaulted again. So in as much as we have always been appreciative and acknowledging of Harmeet Dhillon's advances in the Civil Rights Division, remind of Tina Peters, because time is of the essence. And bad things happen in jail. So there's that. Harmeet comes out and tweets, "Ululating doubters / black pillars and panicans, get out the hot sauce because you're about to eat your words. So proud to work with AG Pam Bondi, the whole civil rights crew, and our law enforcement partners. A ton of work and steps went into these rapid arrests." Now, I'll pause it there for 1 second and just say, I was not one of them saying, arrest these MFers right now. People were saying that. They arrest them. The evidence is there. Just go do it now. And then the replies at the time were, this isn't the movies. You don't go in overnight. It takes time. You got to go through the procedure. All right, that's I totally agreed. I said, a week, 2 weeks before anybody can really start complaining that nothing's been done. They did it within Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 or 5 days. Good. They showed that it can be done in 4 or 5 days. And so you'll tell me, maybe I've lost track of what qualifies as an asshole response. This was my response to Harmeet Dhillon, the use of the black pillars, panicans. I said, using the term black pillars to dismiss legitimate concerns, criticisms is getting old, and you have to appreciate what a double-edged sword your post is. Yes, you got the arrest that can indeed, yes, you have confirmed that arrests can indeed come within a week. Great. That makes it all the more questionable why Bondi waited until the eve of the statute of limitations to bring weak sauce charges against James Comey. Weak sauce is a bit of a cliche term, so maybe I shouldn't have used that, but that's not insulting. It makes it all the more questionable why people are being dismissed as black pillars for observing that Bondi has made 0 deep state arrests after 1 full year. I presume the argument is going to be that harder cases take more time to build, but that wouldn't explain the tardiness of Comey's weak sauce charges, now dismissed and potentially barred by the statute of limitations. You remember I had another, it wasn't even a back and forth because she wouldn't respond to my question, which was a legitimate question. It's like, I appreciate RICO and conspiracy can toll the statute of limitations, or ongoing conspiracy, the statute of limitations starts from every act of an ongoing conspiracy. I was like, well, that's an additional level of argumentation. Why would you want to have that argument to raise instead of just bringing the charges within the statute of limitations? And instead of replying to my post, she replies to Kyle Serafin's joke about her microphone not working. Not even something I did. And I said, don't reply to his sass, reply to my question. A legitimate question. Okay, fine. I appreciate RICO conspiracy, But would it not be strategically best to not have to worry about making arguments that are exceptions to the ordinary running of the statute of limitations? I never got a response. So the facts behind that indictment, that of James Comey, had been known for years, and they had. It cannot explain the absence of charges against Adam Schiff. The facts behind that scumbag have been known for years. So I did use an insult. It was to Adam Schiff. Needle neck, shifty eyes, McSchiff for brains. And I remorselessly needle that man, who oddly enough hasn't blocked me. Adam Schiff, the lying about the Russia collusion, the lies that he said to the public, he's seen smoking gun evidence of Russia collusion. It was a lie. It was the most mischievous, deceitful of lies, because he made a lie that he knew nobody could contradict without violating the confidentiality provisions of those hearings. He is among the worst people in America, known for years. Now, we're getting close to a decade, and then the argument's going to be, well, okay, it's part of an ongoing conspiracy, so we're going to go prosecute him for lying, I don't know, under oath, criminal, I don't know what you go after for making overtly false statements that you knew were false because of your privileged access to documentation, and you knew that nobody could contradict your lie without violating confidentiality provisions. So there's no excuse for that. The fact that charges can be brought within a week severely undermines the argument we have been hearing as nauseum, typo, that 1 year is not enough time to bring meaningful charges against deep state targets. Please appreciate that before calling people black pillars for stating the obvious. Respectfully submitted. And again, I reiterate my open invitation for you to come on my show. Come on anytime. And then this is where, there's that old joke, like, and that's when the fight broke out, or that's when the fight started. I say it's disappointing. I'm not sensitive. It's just disappointing when behavior that you would not expect from, I don't use the word allies. I wouldn't use the word friend. People who you respect, when they behave in a way that is absolutely not just unbecoming, it's unfair. Unfair in not like the emotional sense. It was a legitimate question, a legitimate query. I've asked Harmeet to come on many times to have this discussion publicly because, hey, look, I'm not a criminal lawyer, never have been, not an American lawyer, probably never will be. I don't ever want to practice law again because it's a game of disgusting nastiness, politics, corruption, pushing paper, and then all that you have to do is end up in front of a corrupt judge who says, yeah, thank you for all your hard work and tolling, but no. And the judge is the god of the courtroom. This was the response. What's getting old is your complete ignorance of federal criminal procedure. Canadian podcaster. Go grift elsewhere. Sick of it. Like, what's fundamentally ridiculous, I mean, for lack of a better word, is it's from her personal account. Now, I posted this in our locals community, and someone said, well, why did you reply to her personal account and not her government account? I was just replying from the account from which she put her post. Didn't actually realize it was her personal account at the time. It doesn't even matter. This was the discussion, a reply to a post that she put on Twitter, and I'm getting, like, Canadian podcaster? How original. How freaking original. You know what other names the people who call me Canadian podcasters also call me? Jew. Hey, nice opinion, Jew. Nobody asked you. Go back to Israel. Nobody ever says go back to Israel. They say go back to Canada. But the same people who reduce me to my country of origin are the same people who reduce me to my ethnicity, religion. It's so childish. And to be coming from the civil rights, the head of civil rights, from her personal account, fine. It's like, and then she blocks me. And I think it's unbelievable. This is, I don't know, if it's a tough question to answer, maybe reflect on the question. Maybe reflect on, we're being told on the one hand, it doesn't happen overnight, and nobody says bust in there and do it. It's not like a type of felony that requires busting in and arresting somebody for murder. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happened within the week. Simultaneously being told it's a year. It's 1 year since Trump was elected by the grace of God. And then maybe the answer, maybe the explanation is there's ongoing investigations. We can't talk about them. You have Trump at the WEF saying arrests for the deep state are coming. Some people take that to mean Trump is summarizing what's going on behind the scenes. I might view that as Trump putting Pam Bondi in a position now where she has to arrest some deep state. So somebody say, oh, he's telling you what's going on behind the scenes. And I might say he's making what's going on behind the scenes happen. In as much as the Comey charges came, a few days, a week after Trump's accidental truth post, what was apparently supposed to be a tweet, a text to Pam Bondi? Why isn't anybody getting arrested? And then James Comey gets arrested? And then the charges get dismissed by an activist judge who says Halligan wasn't properly appointed? Okay, one thing is predictable. You're going to deal with activist judges. You're going to deal with corrupt judges. And so don't wait until the last day to file charges that if they get dismissed by a corrupt judge, you're going to have to argue statute of limitations to bring them back in. You didn't need to wait 9 months or 6 months or 5 months to bring those two lying under oath, or what was it, the charges against Comey? Lying. Two charges for that. It had been known for how many years? And so instead, you get backed into a corner where the president accidentally puts you on blast. You then have to act at the last minute with two weak sauce charges, sorry for the cliche, that get dismissed. Now you got to appeal them because you can't refile them because the statute of limitations has passed, despite assurances that the statute of limitations is not issued. This is not blackpilling. This is not hating. The best part is, and we're going to do through this, like they say, don't read replies on Twitter, but I'm a glutton for punishment. You go read the replies. I love you, Viva, but you're kind of blackpilling. Please stop attacking people who are doing their best, fighting all this inside pushback from Biden and Barack. I've been reading a lot of posts in the left because of negative attacks. I said, because of the negative attacks on our own people. There was no negative attack on our own people. This is reality. You're fighting the deep state. It's nice that you can arrest people who interfere at a church. But the deep state, it's the difference between administering the justice system and reforming it. And reform is needed. Otherwise, all of these Trump administrators get impeached, get convicted, get lawfared into jail, lawfared into bankruptcy. Well, then people say, you're Canadian, go back. First of all, I pay taxes in America. The idea that I have no right to air legitimate grievances or questions, but the idea that you address the concerns by writing off the individuals, just calling them names, black pill panicans, everything we do is good enough, and don't worry, it takes time, although we can do it in a week sometimes. It takes time, and nothing's happened in a year. It's all going to happen. And then, look, hopefully, fingers crossed, it does happen. And then the question's always going to be, was it always going to happen despite the pressure of people who want the administration to succeed? I see people say, it's a good thing you can't vote. One person said, it's a good thing you can't vote. And I was like, I would have voted for Trump 3 times if I could. Oh, sorry, what's that? No, that's exactly what you do with people that you hate. Oh, what's that? This is exactly what you do. You associate yourself with organizations that you hate. It's a miracle by the grace of capital G God that Trump won that election. A year into the administration, if you cannot handle the legitimate questions of the people who have been the most vocal supporters and not guardians, but people who want to see the administration succeed, and you go and you block and you reduce a Canadian podcaster. Oh, that, how original. Well, I've never heard that before. Call me a short Jew next time. Like, let's just go all aspects of identity politics. And so it's very, very disappointing. I remember when I had when Kyle Seraphin, who is a very proud troll, like a reply guy, but not in the good reply guys, and he makes fun of Harmeet for not having had a mic when she was making the statement about statute of limitations, RICO conspiracy charges. Don't worry about the statute of limitations. I was like, don't reply to Kyle. If it's true and what you're saying is true, and we do not have reason, or there's not good reason to be concerned that things are not happening fast enough because you're 9 months, not even 8 months away now from a potential shift in power, then have the discussion, explain it. Yeah, I'm not an American lawyer. I'm a Canadian podcaster, proudly living in the free state of Florida, and grateful for the freedom that this administration. When I moved down, it was under the Kamala Harris administration. There were, had she won, my future here might have been, in a little bit more a precarious state. If, Kamala Harris comes down and says, the guy that was actively supporting and defending the Jan 6s, we don't really like that guy. Can you imagine the degree to which, I would say defend, like they needed my defense. stood up for the Jan 6 victims of persecution. And why were they persecuted? Because of inherent weaponized corruption that, if it doesn't get reformed between now and the results of November, you might have big problems ever reforming it. And everyone now saying more times, just stop being a black pill or panicking, will face impeachment, will face the weaponization on steroids of the very same DOJ that might change hands in 2028. It was fundamentally very, very disappointing. I've never been, I can be rude, I can be an asshole, and I can acknowledge it. I'm shocked that Gavin Newsom might not know who I am. Who the hell am I? Gavin Newsom hasn't blocked me. Shifty Shift for Brains McShiftface has not blocked me. Ratskin Raskin has not blocked me. And by the way, if they were to call me an asshole, I would absolutely acknowledge, yes. I don't think I'm an asshole without substance, but I'm definitely an asshole when it comes to them. This question, absolutely legitimate. Okay, so things can be done within a week. When there's a will, there's a way. It's been a year. And now Trump has to go in front of the world at Davos and say, yep, there will be deep state arrests. They can't not happen now. And then the question is only, is Trump saying what's going on behind the scenes, or is Trump putting the pressure on Bondi right now to finally, after a year, it's good to arrest, the whack jobs with a fuck Trump hat and a beard who thinks he's got a messiah complex. It's easy to go after the low-hanging fruits and then say, look what we can do. And then blocks. That's what you can do. There's what you can do, what's being done, and what needs to be done. And what needs to be done for the time being doesn't look like it has been done. And whether or not things are going on behind the scenes, my goodness, just some public assurances would be great. Well, that's all I have to say about that. And I wouldn't even take it personally. Yeah, I overreacted. Nobody apologizes anymore. I mean, I still do apologize. But I overreacted. Shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just, hey, let's have the discussion, Harmeet. Come on to the channel. Whatever you can discuss, but it's not your DOJ. I appreciate you're in the Civil Rights Division and you're doing great work there. I do think that the Tina Peters case is a dire emergency, a life and death emergency. I had on Stuart Rhodes of the Oath Keepers, who had his map to freeing Tina Peters, or at least taking her into federal custody. Taking a corpse into federal custody is not as good as taking a woman, Gold Star mom, into federal custody. So you get credit for the great work that's being done at the Civil Rights Division, and you get pressure for Tina Peters because it's time sensitive. And Pam Bondi can get credit. Reduction in crime is very nice. That is administration. The DOJ and the FBI need reform. And that reform comes from going after the people who try to take a hot, steaming dump on democracy in order to preserve it in 2020. That justice needs to come for the people who participated in the January 6th persecution, the weaponization of all aspects of the federal government for 4 years. And I would also say that has to be full justice for the people who had a hand, actively or passively, in any realm of the alternative universe that we live in, would have seen Trump dead that day. And by the grace of God, a butterfly flapping its wings in Japan, Trump survived, and it's been a year. And it's getting critical. And blocking, calling black pillars. I'm Canadian. Can't help where I was born. I'm short. Too late for taking growth hormones. And that's that.